going on YouTube? It's your B-boy Brandon here, and today I'm going to be showcasing you guys my Despia branded deck post Magnificent Mavens 2022. So with this deck, I was able to go to my locals right after work, so I decided to try this deck out. I saw a couple of deck profiles while I was gone. I'm like, you know what? Let's just go to a random locals and just play the deck. I picked up this deck and we're just gonna go ham on it. So you know what? Let's just go ahead and dive straight into the deck profile. So with this deck, I'm gonna be going in depth a little bit about this deck. So first off, we're gonna be playing 3 copies of Aluber, the Jester of Despia. So basically, when he's normally special summoned, you can add any of your branded spell or traps, including cards like Branded Fusion, Branded Red, all of the good jazz right here. Also, every time I normal summon him, I think of him as Alistair the Invoker. As you guys may have known, most of my videos that I've been posting are mostly Invoke, Shaddoll, Dogmatica, whatever you want to feel like it. Which I will be making a deck profile update for that deck as well, if you guys leave a like on this video. So yeah, also, he also has a kind of a worthless effect when he's in the graveyard. I can just reborn him and target a monster that my opponent controls and negate that monster for the rest of the turn, as long as they destroy my fusion monsters. So that's that. We also play 2 copies of Despian Tragedy. So when he's banished or discarded by a card effect, you can add any of your Despia monsters. If he's in the graveyard, you can banish itself, target a branded spell or trap or in your graveyard, and just set it to your side of the field. You can only activate one of the effects per turn, and only once that turn. The 1 copy of Dramaturge of Despia, I decided to incorporate this card in the deck because I like to reborn this card. The 1 Ad Libitum, just to reborn our fusion monsters from our banish zone or our graveyard. And 2 copies of Fallen of Albaz. I might incorporate this card to 3 copies, because this card alone performed really good against some of the matchups that I've played. It's literally just a walking super polymerization. 1 copy of Albion, the Shrouded Dragon. And if he's in your hand, you can foolish any of your branded cards, put them up to the bottom of the deck, and draw 1 card. But if he's in the graveyard, you don't get to draw. 3 copies of Edge Imp Chains. It allows you to search your Fight for Patchwork, and Patchwork allows you to find another copy of itself, and polymerization. Next up, this is another tech option that I have tried in the deck. It's Keeper of the Dragon's Magic. I saw a deck profile like this on the Kali Effects check. Did not perform that much. I was only able to resolve it once throughout the entire locals. So I might cut this card. So it's just a card that I don't see too much, because I've already have too much searchers within the deck itself. Why do I need to search for more stuff when I have the other stuff? 1 copy of Incredible Ecclesia. This card right here, I absolutely love so much, because not only it's not just for Sword Soul, guys. It's not just for Sword Soul. It also summons your Fallen of Albaz from the deck. Also, if it's in your graveyard and you send a fusion monster that was sent there this turn in the graveyard, it goes back to your hand. I also incorporated Artifact Scythe, just so that way I can prevent my opponent from special summoning from the extra deck. And we're only playing 3 hand traps, which is 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Don't laugh at me, these are just common. So now we're going to incorporate within these spells. We're playing 3 copies of Branded Fusion. This card is ridiculously good. Basically, it allows you to fusion summon any of your Fallen of Albaz fusion monsters, as long as you use Fallen of Albaz or another monster as material. 3 copies of Branded Opening. This card allows you to summon your Despia monsters from the deck. And also, this card protects your fusion monsters when your opponent decides to Regeki or things like that. Only 2 copies of Branded in Red. I usually like to activate it during my opponent's turn, just so that way I can summon my huge big boss monsters. 2 polymerizations, along with the Fight for Patchwork. 3 super polymerizations, because I don't want my opponents to respond. I don't want my opponent to play at all. This card performed very, very well, and I actually managed to get 3 copies of Forbidden Droplet. Since the Megatins came out, I decided to incorporate the Forbidden Droplets. Since these cards were going down in price, I decided to cop myself 3 copies of Forbidden Droplet. This card performed really, really, really well. One call by the grave, because I don't want my opponent to activate their tier element stuff. Only 2 trap card. This card here, this card performed really well. I was going against a Utopia play. They were like, target my Utopia monster in my graveyard, and I go, Branded Expulsion, tributing my Mirror Jade. Give me your monster. Just give it. Just give me your monster. And then with Branded Banishment, this card here, this card, it performed okay. 2 copies of Mirror Jade. Mirror Jade, this card is stupid. It's very stupid, but I love it. I'll be honest, I only played 2 copies. I found out that this card was overperforming really, really well. So I might incorporate a 3rd copy of Albion the Branded Dragon, just so that way I can have more of that consistency within the deck itself. 1 Rubellion. Honestly, this deck only needs 1 Rubellion. Being able to recycle your materials from the deck or anywhere that's on the field it's good on its own. Play the 1 copy of Titaniclad. I never made that card. Brigand the Gory Dragon, another card that I never made. Abalinitis for the Bestial deck that everybody kept talking about. Never faced it, so I never made it. Then we play the 2 copies of Masquerade. This card overperformed, especially when I'm going into time. Despian Cordis. Next we play the 1 Despian Proskinia. I managed to make this card once. 1 copy of the first Dark Lord. This is another card that I've only managed to make once. I don't own Guardian Chimera, so this was a budget option that I decided to go for. Next up I play the 1 Draco Stapilia. I might add a 2nd copy for this deck because there were some moments where I could have used a 2nd copy, but you know, it did perform super well. And then last but not least, I played Triferotum. This card, it's in here as a super poly target. Okay, so now, side deck time. And yes, we actually are doing side decks for this video, because this deck did perform really well. So for my side deck choices, I decided to go for 3 copies of Ghost Sister. A lot of tier element players and sprite players, they took their time to figure out what they want to do for their combos. So after I learned my mistakes from that, I decided to go with Ghost Sister just because, so that way I can gain life points. So I'm like, you know what? If you're gonna take forever to combo, give me life points so that I can make you think a lot more. Just keep thinking. Just keep thinking. And if that's not enough, I added some Nibiru's in my deck so that I can make you think even more. If I have my Masquerades on the field along with the Ghost Sisters, I'm gonna make you have a huge mind fuck right there. Then we have 2 copies of Cosmic and 1 copy of Harpy's Feather Duster for back row removal in case if I go against Mystic Mind. Dark Ruler, never made it. This card though, I managed to stop my opponent from summoning their Utopias, their Number Monsters, all that good jazz. All that good jazz. So anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like for this video if you want to see more awesome content for my Yu-Gi-Oh! For the Yu-Gi-Oh! Content, if my pronouns are that terrible. Subscribe if you want to see more deck profiles like this. If you want me to make a separate video for like budget option cards, please let me know in the comments section below. Me personally, I like to do budget option cards. Turn on your notification bell in case if you want to see more awesome content like myself. B-Boy out.